Hey, welcome back or welcome. I'm Brittany and this is the Brittneyinc channel. Today, I will be discussing with y'all the largest organ, one of the most complex organs, our body's first line of defense. That one, the one that we can physically touch, the skin. More specifically, we're going to be discussing the concept of building a skincare regimen. I've never done a dedicated skincare video on this channel, and I'm very excited. Fun fact, I had a dedicated skincare YouTube channel where the quality was terrible and I rambled and got too sciencey. So the goal is not to do that today. This video could easily be 2 hours, but we're going to try to keep it under 20 minutes. And within that 20 minutes, I'm going to give you the general basics of building your skincare regimen. So let's get into it. As a skincare professional, I have always focused on 3 pillars: hydration, hydration, exfoliation, and protection. Hydration, exfoliation, and protection. And I emphasize healthy and balanced. I'm not saying perfect. I can't lead anyone to perfect skin. I don't even have perfect skin, and I really, really love my skin, but I don't have perfect skin. There's no such thing as perfect skin. But with good health and a balanced routine, you are then led to healthy, balanced skin, which is amazing because most skin issues or concerns that people have about their skin outside of the natural, normal aging process are all due to an imbalance in the skin. They're all due to like some type of inflammation in the skin. Sometimes it's hereditary, but for the most part, it is changeable. Some things are not easily changeable, but I hope to give you guys some good stepping stones to build off of. So let's get into it. We know the 3 pillars now, right? There are 4 skin types. Some people would argue that there are 5, but there is a difference between a type and a condition. The skin types are oily, dry, normal, combination. It's that simple. Most people that I come into contact with say that their skin is dry when it is indeed just dehydrated. And dehydration is a condition. And I'm going to get into conditions in a bit. I want to talk a little bit more on skin types. Many of us are combination. What is combination? Combination is just a mixture of 2 of the skin types on the plane of one face. Most Black people or people with darker skin Asians, darker skin Hispanic people tend to produce more oil, just genetically based on the regions of the earth that we are from, sunny areas. The oil is an extra layer of protection from the sun. Generally, when I come across Black people with dry skin, they are dealing with some type of atopic dermatitis like psoriasis or eczema or something of that nature. There's an imbalance. There's inflammation in there, but let's not get into that. Many of us have combination skin. Me, myself, my skin is combination normal to oily. My oily region is my T-zone, very typical. The perimeter of my face is normal. The normal skin type is the best skin type to have. Normal skin type is the rarest skin type to have. I have met one person in my entire skin and beauty career who has normal skin. Hi, Simone, if you're watching. Simone has the most beautiful, flawless skin. Even complexion, she sees a breakout maybe once a year, if that. And that's that normal skin. Normal skin sees very balanced oil production. It doesn't see much shine throughout the day. Oily skin is characterized by shine throughout the day, excess oil on the face. You know, you use the oil blotting pads, you see that the oil, or if you touch your face by 2 p.m., you may see some oil on your fingers. And there are varying levels of oiliness, and it's typically measured on how oily or how shiny you are by noon. And different things contribute to excess oil in the skin. Diet and lifestyle being one of them. People who tend to drink a lot of alcohol or consume a lot of sugar typically tend to excrete more oil in the skin. Dry skin is typically found in people with fairer skin. Dry skin is more prone to premature aging, wrinkles, elastosis. Characterizations of dry skin are just flat, a shineless area. You may be prone to some flaking because you're lacking the oil. And then combination skin, more commonly you'll see combination normal oily. Sometimes you'll see combination normal dry. You're really never going to see combination dry oily. It's just two different ends of the spectrum. So if you're experiencing some dryness, then that just may be dehydration. Now let's get into some common skin conditions. And these are conditions because they can change day to day. My skin type is going to be the same until I die. My skin condition can literally change every day. Some common skin conditions are dehydration, the feeling of just being tight. And this is where most people mistake their skin for being dry. This is due to your barrier being overworked, too many actives, using products that are not for your skin type. This is due to not adequately hydrating your skin. This is due to using the wrong products at the wrong time of year, etc. We'll get into it later. Another popular condition is sensitive. Now, you may sometimes see sensitive as a skin type, which I've always thought to be a huge mistake. If I had a client who had very reactive, sensitive skin, I would always make a note of that and adhere to that during the treatment. However, the core of her skin is her type. You can be oily and have sensitive skin. You can be dry and have sensitive skin. So sensitivity is a condition, one that can go away. But for some skin types, those people are just sensitive forever. Their skin will always be reactive. But sometimes, again, just like with dehydration, we can cause sensitivity in our own skin when we destroy our barrier with too many actives or just being too aggressive with the skin. Aging is another condition that you can treat separately, but it's one that is pretty tricky to reverse and impossible to stop. Acne is a huge condition, okay? A lot of people equate oily skin with acneic skin, and that is the furthest from the truth. Up until a point, it would be impossible to find a product that treats oily skin that is not geared towards fighting acne. 15 years ago, when I was getting into my skincare and I really wanted to take care of my skin, I struggled because I knew that my skin was oily, but I'd never had acne. I am one of the lucky few who sees a pimple maybe 3 times a year. So for me to go after a benzoyl peroxide cleanser or a salicylic lotion made absolutely no sense, and that would have probably ruined my barrier. And I'm pretty sure when I was 18, I was tearing my barrier to shreds, y'all, because I was using a daytime Regimen. And I'm mentioning conditions because conditions are literally what skincare companies use to market. When was the last time you shopped for skincare and you didn't see Now that we've discussed the 3 pillars of skin, the 4 skin types, and then 4 skin conditions, let's get into the 5 products the average skincare regimen needs. A cleanser. Back in the spa and in my consulting days, I would always tell my clients that the cleanser is the most important / least important thing in your regimen. Most important because it kicks things off, it sets the tone. Least important because it's not something that stays on the skin, it goes down the drain, meaning there is no reason to invest a lot of money into a cleanser. Typically, a cleanser above $20, $25 is an investment. And that's, you know, depending on the size and such. I will say that a cleanser is not the place that you want your actives to be in, no matter the form. And we're going to get into the forms in a bit. But say if we have a vitamin C cleanser, that cleanser is on your face for what, 60 seconds tops? We should be cleansing for a total of 60 seconds. It doesn't exceed 90 seconds. So that vitamin C or retinol or all those other buzzword ingredients, especially actives, they're hardly able to do the work. So when it comes to cleansing, keep it basic. As far as the different types of cleansers, there is oils / balms, and that is great for people who double cleanse, typically oilier people or people who are acneic, or people who wear makeup. It's fantastic for makeup removal, and it's fantastic for people who are prone to breakouts because oil removes oil. So if you're using a good cosmetic oil cleanser, it's going to seek out and meet the excess oil on the surface of the skin and pull it away once you rinse it away. But it's very important that you follow your oil cleanser or balm with a nice deep cleansing gel cleanser. Gel cleansers and like foam cleansers are probably the most common one that you're going to see. They're great for oily to normal skin. They're typically all that you see pumped towards people with acneic skin. They're fantastic, but this is also the form that can be the most drying if the ingredients are too aggressive. Because while the ingredients may not have the chance to break down and morph into a form in which they're the most active and effective for results, they can still be a bit harsh and drying. And the last thing that you want to do at the very beginning of your skincare regimen is strip your skin. You don't want to start off with a compromised barrier. There's also cream cleansers, which are fantastic for people with drier skin, alopecia skin, meaning skin that lacks oil, and also great for people who like to cleanse twice a day in the morning. Let me explain. If I have on a little bit of makeup right now, I'm going to go tonight and do a double cleanse. I'm going to use an oil cleanser and I'm going to use my foaming cleanser, and I'm going to apply my hydrators, my treatments. I'm going to go to sleep. In the morning, waking up, not much happened when I slept. Maybe some eye boogers, maybe a little bit of drool, maybe some excess oil or sweat if I got hot throughout the night. But there's not much to cleanse away because I'm not overly oily to the point to where I would need to be freshly cleansed, and I'm also not acneic. In that case, if you're that person, you could opt into using a cleansing towelette, or you could use just a cold towel, a clean cold towel, a clean cold sponge, just to remove any surface debris. But you can also, if you still want to cleanse, you can use a cream cleanser, and this is going to remove anything on the surface and not overwork the skin too much. However, if you are on the oilier spectrum of things and you want to use a cream cleanser in the morning to avoid stripping your skin in the morning with the gel cleanser, then I would recommend that you use a nice toner after the cream cleanser to remove any residue, especially if you're going to go forth with a regimen that has SPF and or makeup. The last type of cleansers kind of leans towards exfoliants, but there are cleansers in this form, and these are the powder cleansers, and they're typically enzymatic or like rice bran-esque. Popular one would be like the Dermalogica microfoliant, or Dr. Barbara Sturm also has one, and these are typically great for normal to oily skin, also acneic skin. Speaking of enzymatic cleanser, that leads right into step 2, which would be to exfoliate. Exfoliation is one of the 3 pillars. It is one of my favorite things, and there are a few different ways in which you can exfoliate. The most traditional way would be to use a scrub, something granular, something with some texture. Now, I want to say over the past 10 years now, physical exfoliation has had a bad reputation because of an article that was pretty popular about St. Ives. And it spoke about the granules of St. Ives being pretty aggressive and potentially causing micro tears in the skin. That can be true. But what can also be true is the fact that me doing this just now could have also caused micro tears in the skin. Because micro tears are not as aggressive as that article made them seem. And it really caused, I don't want to call it a frenzy, because it was definitely very concentrated to one group of people. But within that group, a lot of people turned away from physical scrubs and completely leaned on chemical exfoliation, which to me is a huge mistake, and I'll explain why in a bit. I love physical scrubs. I'm gonna stand beside them forever. And what that article failed to state was that the purpose of a physical scrub or any exfoliation practice is to aggravate the skin, thus strong arming it into producing newer, fresher, vibrant, even toned, supple skin. That's the point. When we physically scrub, we're attacking on purpose. When we do a chemical peel is a controlled burn. It's all with purpose. So a physical scrub to me is the best and most straightforward. It's not only going to physically slough away any dead skin cells and debris on the surface, but it's also going to stimulate the skin, bringing blood flow. And in the same ways that blood flow in the scalp is great for hair growth, blood flow in the skin is great for collagen production. It's great for just overall health of the skin. It's super essential. Now, would I use St. Ives? No, I wouldn't. I would use St. Ives on my feet maybe. But I think we should question St. Ives not because it's a physical scrub, but because of the price point, because of the fragrances used that can potentially be irritating, because the ingredients are generally terrible, not because it's a scrub. Because like I said, many things can cause micro tears in the skin. And if micro tears were so terrible, then spa-led treatments like microinfusion and microdermabrasion and microneedling, those things would not exist. They exist for a reason, because they're effective. Scrubs are effective. And I love the scrub because it's so versatile. If your skin is a little bit thinner and drier and more reactive, then you can easily opt into using a powder cleanser, like an enzymatic powder cleanser, like the one from Barbara Stern, as your exfoliant. If your skin is thicker and coarser and more texture driven, then you can easily opt into something that I've spoken about many, many times before, and that is my brightening facial scrub from Acure. It's fantastic. There's nothing wrong with scrubs, people. There's absolutely nothing wrong with scrubs. And the problem with using chemicals only, and let's get into the chemicals. And chemical sounds aggressive, but let's be mindful that literally everything is a chemical, okay? There's two types of chemical exfoliants. There's going to be, well, three. There's going to be your enzymatic, which are my favorite, and there's going to be your AHAs, your BHAs, your PHAs. Technically four, but the AHAs, BHAs, PHAs, they're kind of lumped together, and then the enzymes, she does something completely different, okay? Enzymes. If you are a health girly and maybe you have a vitamin regimen, then you've probably seen enzymes taken orally for digestive needs. It's typically bromelain from pineapple or papain from papaya. What those do in the digestive tract is, or maybe the stomach, I don't know at what point they start, honestly, but what they do is they help to break down foods for better digestion. On the skin, if I'm using a pumpkin mask, enzymatic mask on my skin, what it's doing is so beautiful. I explain it like Pac-Man. The enzymes and the tingle you experience when you use an enzymatic product that's strong enough, of course, it's eating away at the dead skin cells. It's proteolytic, meaning protein dissolving. So it's only seeking out the skin cells that are completely dead, no longer of use, just gone. And it's eating them away, which is fantastic for texture, baby. Pumpkin is the big mama of enzymes, but you'll also see bromelain, pineapple, or papaya. campaign advertised with skincare products. On the other spectrum of chemical exfoliants, we have our AHAs, lactic acid, malic acid, glycolic acid, tartaric acid. There's many of those girlies. And glycolic is the strongest. She derives naturally from sugar. And she's great for wrinkles. But we also have like malic and mandelic. Malic coming from apples and mandelic coming from bitter almonds. Works beautifully on brown skin, hyperpigmentation, fantastic. Lactic comes from lactose, it comes from milk. Hence the milk bath and smoothing skin. You get where I'm going. What AHAs do that's different from what enzymes do is AHAs actually go into the skin, the layers of the skin, and they break down the glue that holds skin cells together. Think about brick and mortar. Think about tile and grout. It's breaking down the grout. But the problem with using a very popular product, for example, is the ordinary glycolic toner. The problem with using something like that solely is that yes, it's aggressive and it's breaking down the glue that holds these skin cells together, but the skin cells just sit there. They just sit there. There's nothing to dissolve them. And when these girlies go on these AHA or chemical exfoliant only type regimens, there's nothing to get rid of the dead skin cells because they're not using a scrub. They think scrubs are aggressive and cause micro tears and craters in the face. And they're not using enzymes, which would be fantastic because they haven't been educated on them, and enzymes are not as widespread as an AHA or BHA. BHA is salicylic acid, by the way. And then PHA, so alpha, beta, poly. PHA is going to be, they're newer, they're a little bit better suited for sensitive or reactive skin. And I'm trying not to get too sciencey, but those are the two forms of chemical exfoliation. I think a regimen that has chemical and physical in a balanced way is the best way to achieve certain skin goals. And it is the way that I have been treating my skin for well over a decade, and my skin is pretty balanced and really never problematic. And I say there's many ways to exfoliate because you can exfoliate via a scrub in the shower, or you can exfoliate with your toner, which is tricky, or you could exfoliate with a treatment and a chemical peel, or you could have a lactic acid serum that you put on at night. So there's many different places in which your exfoliant can go into your regimen. And we'll talk about that more later. Now, number 3 is where the possibility of adding many products comes in. This is how a 10-step regimen becomes a 10-step regimen with the many steps that can go within this 3rd step. This 2nd step can shift depending on what your goal is, or how extensive your regimen is, or what type of skin you have. 1, it could be a toner. 2, it could be an essence. 3, it can be a serum. If your regimen is extensive enough, it can be all 3 of those things. So let's break them down and talk about the differences. A toner is pretty old school. 2 things that are old school, a toner and an astringent. A toner is meant to tone the skin. It's meant to balance the skin, bring the skin back into homeostasis, okay? The skin lives at a pH between 4.5 and 5.5. The skin is acidic. Our bodies are acidic, naturally. I say a toner is old school because cleansers used to use much harsher ingredients that could potentially take the skin out of homeostasis. Maybe they were a little bit more acidic and they took the skin down to a 3. If I had an acidic cleanser and it took my skin down to a 3.7 pH, I would then use a toner to bring my skin back to its pH. You understand? Now an astringent is like a very acidic toner, except it's not a toner at all because it actually takes the skin out of homeostasis. But this product was pushed or advertised towards people with oily and or acneic skin. and it was meant to control the oil. Astringents were historically very drying. The second or sometimes first ingredient was always alcohol, and it was meant to dry the skin out, to get rid of the oil. The problem with that is that if you strip the skin of oil and you don't put any moisture in its place, the skin is going to produce more oil because the body does not know that we want to be beautiful. That's one thing to remember, is that our bodies does not know, nor does it care that we want our skin clear for aesthetics. It doesn't care. It's going to function how it's going to function. It's going to react due to hormones and dietary changes, etc., because that's what it's designed to do. So if you dry the skin out and you think, I'm so oily that I don't even want to use a moisturizer, you're actually worsening the problem, because more oil is just going to produce, because the body needs water. The skin needs hydration just like we need hydration. And to compensate for that, the body only knows how to produce oil because it can't produce its own water. So products like the glycolic toner from The Ordinary read as more of an astringent or a treatment. Keep that in mind. For the second step, you could also have an essence. Now, people get essences and toners confused, and a lot of Korean brands will say essence/toner, because these essences can balance the pH of the skin, because they are skin balanced or pH balanced, meaning that they are within the pH range of the skin. But essences are more so designed to nourish the skin, to hydrate the skin, to treat something within the skin. So to differentiate, toners are designed to balance pH. Essences are designed to hydrate, nourish, and treat, but they can also balance the pH as well. And then there's serums, my favorite. Now, serums, pretty similar to essences, okay? They're designed to nourish the skin. They're designed to treat a certain condition within the skin or maintain the skin that you want to have. They can be designed to hydrate. They can be designed for many, many things. Personally, my regimen has both essences and serums and an occasional toner, because I use my toner to treat. So now you see how it's easy to kind of rack up the skincare products, because I could go oil cleanser, regular cleanser, scrub exfoliant, exfoliating chemical wipes. I can go toner, I can go essence, I can go serum, and already I'm at 7 steps. And I haven't even gotten to my moisturizer and my SPF, which are steps 4 and 5. Your moisturizer is typically creamy and rich. It seals in whatever you did before, typically your hydration, because the most hydration typically comes from your toner, essence, serum step, because those things have a typically watery consistency, which makes them easier to be penetrated into the skin, whereas a cream has a fatter molecular structure and it's more so designed to sit on top, nourish, protect, and seal, versus really seeping in and doing any hardcore work. Moisturizers come in many forms. You have oil-free moisturizers, which are kind of fear-mongering for people who are oily or acneic. There's nothing wrong with the oils in a moisturizer, but you have oil-free moisturizers. The only time I would recommend those is during like the summer months, if you live somewhere that's very humid, like Chicago or New York or Miami in the summers. If you live in a place with drier summers, like Arizona or Southern California, then I would suggest you not go oil-free, because evaporation, baby, evaporation happens with our skincare. I'm sure we've all put on great skincare where it maybe wasn't sealed, or we were just in too dry of an environment, and 2-3 hours later we felt like balled up homework. This happens sometimes on airplanes. This happens sometimes if your house is heated. This happens sometimes in commercial buildings, like an office that you may work in or something like that, where it's just typically dry. So if you're in that situation, we're not going oil-free. We need that to lock in our hydrators and moisturizers, because otherwise it will evaporate. And then lastly, you have your SPF, your sun protection factor. This could be chemical, this could be physical. A very popular chemical SPF is oxybenzone. Very popular mineral, only mineral, is going to be zinc oxide and titanium dioxide, and those are the ones that have the white ashy cast. I'm sure we've all seen a movie where there's a white lifeguard from like the 80s, 90s, and he has the white strip on his nose, or she has the white strip on her nose. That's going to be a physical SPF, and it's placed on the nose because that's the highest point of the face and typically the first place to get sunburned. Now that we've discussed kind of the 5 core product types of a balanced skincare regimen, let's discuss how to put it together. I don't think this video is going to be under 20 minutes. So considering the 3 pillars and considering our skin type, typically when you shop for a cleanser, you shop based on your skin type. So let's just say we have a combo person, combination oily, normal. We're going to get a nice gel cleanser. We can use this cleanser morning or night. It really depends on our oil production. But if we produce a lot of oil at night because we are very hot, or if we sweat a lot at night because sudoriferous and sebaceous glands, they're kind of sisters, they go hand in hand, then we can opt into using a nice toner to cleanse our skin in the morning. We can use a nice cream cleanser to cleanse our skin in the morning. We can use a plain cold towel, or if we really feel like an oil slick in the morning, then we can use our gel cleanser twice in one day, as long as it's not a cleanser with a lot of actives. And of course, I'm going to link examples of each product that I mentioned in this video down below. So we buy cleansers based on skin type. Exfoliators. Exfoliators we buy based on our skin condition. If we are treating brown spots, dark spots, post-inflammatory hyperpigmentation, then we are treating this with a physical scrub, and also at some point throughout the week, maybe an enzyme peel, maybe a AHA-based towelette like the Dr. Gross towelettes. It really depends on what your skin can take. But when pigmentation is at play, and I can definitely do more concentrated videos on different skin conditions if you guys would like, let me know down below what your skin concern is. And I can either answer a question for you in depth, or I can make it a video if it requires that. But when we're dealing with pigmentation, which is sometimes linked to the residual effects of breakouts, is sometimes linked to hormones. It really depends on what you have going on to, link to your hyperpigmentation. But when dealing with that, exfoliation and hydration, actually all 3 pillars really matter, because you have to hydrate to keep your skin balanced so that it can effectively receive the exfoliants that you use. You have to exfoliate to force the skin to create new even skin. I said skin. And you have to wear SPF to protect your skin and inhibit those dark spots from getting darker. Now, when it comes to your toner, your essence, your serum, you're buying these products based on your skin condition. Because as I mentioned earlier, these products typically, by typically I mean they do, have a smaller molecular structure, meaning they can penetrate deeper into the skin. I used to use an analogy where I described like a screen door, or like a window screen. Imagine if I took my watery essence, or let's do a food. Imagine if I took some milk and I poured it over a screen door. It's going to go through that screen door with no issue. Those little openings are going to accommodate such a liquidy product. And then I can go even thicker, and I could pour a salad dressing. It's going to go a little bit slower, but it's still going to go through the screen. Now imagine if I poured something like jelly or peanut butter. They're very thick, they're very rich. You're not going to see much drippage unless it's there for a long time. So think of that peanut butter as your cream that's nourishing and protecting what you put in there. Think of that milk and that salad dressing as like your essence and your serum. You want those products to go deep within the skin. That's where you invest your money. You're not really investing on your cleanser. You can even save some money with your exfoliant when it's a physical regular scrub, but you are investing in your serums, okay? So a great essence to hydrate the skin is fantastic. You guys know that I have been into the Korean products lately. Those girls love hydration. Those girls love hydration. So one of those would be fantastic, because no matter what your skin concern is, we all need hydration. The limit does not exist when it comes to hydration. And then a serum can be used to treat whatever the concern is. If your concern is fine lines, get yourself a lactic or glycolic serum to use 3 to 4 times a week, depending on what's going on with your skin, because we don't want to mess up our barrier. If your concern is premature aging, get yourself a retinol treatment to start off using 1 to 2 times a week and building up, because with retinol, it's always slow and steady. And also with retinol, you want to triple your hydration, because retinol is infamous for drying the skin out. If dark spots are a concern, we can get a beautiful mandelic serum and we can spot treat with it, and we can start off using that about 3 times a week and build up if necessary. And I'm saying build up for all of these different actives because that is the quickest way to ruin your barrier. And once you ruin your barrier, you can't do nothing but cleanse and moisturize with a moisturizer that pretty much does nothing, because the skin has to have the space and time to repair itself. And things like intense actives and fragrances and colors and textures kind of work against that repairing stage. When it comes to your moisturizer, you are choosing this based on your skin type and condition. I say skin type because moisturizers come in a variety of different thicknesses. And I'm not going to get a Dr. Sabah extra dry cream that's going to be thick as peanut butter if my skin is super oily. And I'm also not going to get a beautiful gel cream oil-free moisturizer if my skin is dry as a cardboard box. So it's based on skin type in that capacity, but you could also get creams to treat. Do they treat as effectively as a serum? No, but they still have potential to treat, as they are something that stays on the skin. And again, we invest in what stays on the skin. And then SPF is just based on preference. There are some SPF formulations that can be not the best for people who are acneic or prone to breakouts. There are some that could actually contribute to breakouts, and those are typically your mineral SPFs, your titanium zinc or your zinc oxides, because those minerals, they can potentially be comedogenic. So keep that in mind. And of course, once you get your 5 steps locked down, you're consistent, you can start to add little things in. Like you can pump up your step 3. You can use a toner or essence and 3 different serums depending on what your concern is. You can start to do little masks and things of that nature. But these 5, they are the most important. A good cleanse, good exfoliation habits, not too much though, because we never want to compromise our barrier. A good selection of a hydrating and treating product. That can be just 1 product or that can be 3 products. A great moisturizer and a worthy SPF. And that's your regimen. Again, I wanted this video to be very basic. We're not talking about anything too specific. We're not talking about how to get rid of brown spots and how to get rid of this. I feel like there's so much of that online because people just want to rush through it. And I get it, especially if you're dealing with a skin concern. You want the fastest results possible because it's literally your face. And people tend to be vain. I get it. If something was going on with my face, I would want to fix it in the fastest, most effective way possible, whether I had to be aggressive or not. I would just want it done fast. But skin is an organ, and we have to be cognizant of that. And I used to ask my clients, Well, baby, how would you treat your heart if you had to hold it in your hands? How would you treat your brain if you had to hold it in your hands? Treat your skin with that same care. If something is going on with your heart, you're not just going to jump from medicine to medicine to medicine to medicine every time something does not work after a week. Like, you will die. You can't play with your internal organs in that way. Regard your skin in the same way. You can't play with her. You can't play with her. You have to be patient. If you're trying a new product, give it 6 to 8 weeks. It takes the skin cells 4 weeks to turn over. But that's peak young skin. As we get older, our skin stops turning over as fast. Our skin cells stop turning over as fast. When we hit 30, collagen production drops. Many things happen. So you have to be patient with your skin. Just because Jamila says she used something and it works for her, it doesn't mean that it's going to work for you. So many factors go into our skin. What we eat is so important because a lot of people's problems are immediately linked to sugar and or dairy. Those are two of the biggest culprits with skin when it comes to breaking out. And sugar, she contributes heavily and aggressively to wrinkles from premature aging and sagging. The water that we bathe in contributes to our skin health. The homes that we live in contribute to our skin health. Are we under fluorescent lights? And do we have central heat? And are our places very dry? The cities that we live in obviously contribute. That affects the water, how hard it is. It affects the environment, the pollution levels that we're in. All of these different extrinsic factors matter, but also intrinsic factors are the most important because genetics play the hugest role. My skin is like this because of my mama and my daddy, and there's no way around that. But with beauty and cosmetics, there's a fix for everything. You just have to be patient. But starting with a balanced skincare regimen is the first step. And that's it, y'all. This video is longer than I wanted it to be. I can already tell because I've been recording for 50 minutes. And now I'm going to try to chop 50 minutes down to about 25 to 30. We will see. But I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please let me know. I'm sure you will. It's just very difficult to answer everything within one video, which is why this may be more suitable to turn this into like a little series. I don't know. But skin, like I said, skin is one of the most complex organs. And talking about skin, it can go so many different ways. Like this video could easily be 2-3 hours. So let me know your specific questions and I will try to answer them. Well, I will answer them because I will know the answers. But I will answer them in the comments if you have any specific questions. Or you can DM me, of course, email me. And if the questions gel to something solid, then I will make it a video. Or if I get any other ideas of a way that I could explain certain factors about the skin, then I will make it a video. Maybe we can do a video specifically on exfoliation and different actives like the AHAs, what they do, the enzymes, what they do, the retinols, retinoids, what they do, things of that nature. So let me know what type of content you guys want to see from me this year. Of course, I'm very open to suggestions. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I tried not to get too technical and sciencey. I tried not to ramble too much. I hope that this gave you guys some usable tools and cleared any areas where you may have been foggy on why you're using which product and which, etc. So like this video if you like this video. Again, leave a comment if you feel moved. I would appreciate it. Subscribe if you're not already subscribed. Follow me on Instagram at Brittneyinc and also follow me on TikTok at Brittneyinc. I've been sneaking in a little bit more skincare content over there. It's very surface level, but it's there if you're curious. And that's it, y'all. I will see you guys in the next video. Abianto.